get them up here. Alex and Eleanor, you've just been invited up on the screen, so when you have a second to join us, please do. In the meantime, in addition to all the posters, I've got my Long Beach Island mug, which has been accompanying me everywhere here in the virtual studio, as we're calling it, in Brooklyn.
We have our glasses.
Hey, there's Alex and Eleanor. Hang on one sec. I'll just focus the screen for you, make you, there you go.
Look at that. Cool.
How's it going?
Hi.
Welcome. It's amazing to see you guys. Thank you so much. Were those Lighthouse wine glasses that we saw?
That's right.
That's amazing.
The old happy hours.
We also use these in our intro for the video that played before the movie.
That's right. I'm not down on LBI to see that, unfortunately, but I did catch the film at Sundance and absolutely loved it. As I mentioned to Eleanor a couple days ago in the kickoff event, I loved the way that the Sundance programmer introed your first screening, talking about how it was really just the most fun film of the festival at Sundance this year. And I couldn't agree with her more. Like, usually I feel like, you know, you want to really blow up intros and things like that, but I was like, she blew it up in the perfect, most truthful way possible, because I enjoyed your film so much from start to finish. It was just unbelievable. And so one sec real quick here. I'm just going to share a still from your film, if that's okay. And maybe you could just kind of get us started here. I will do that. And
we got to meet that programmer early on in this Sundance orientation thing, and she was so cool and nice, and we were just like, oh, this is what Sundance is like.
Yeah. That's tremendous. So can you guys see the still that we've got up here? Great. So obviously for everybody watching, this is the two leads of the film, Sunita Mani and John Reynolds. Your film is kind of in a way, a little bit, I don't quite want to call it a two-hander, because
that's all right.
There are kind of other elements that come into play. And so I also I always worry about films in terms of spoilers and things like that. So I won't say too much in detail. I'll try to ask you some questions and let you choose your answers as far as we go with that. Before we do, I just want to also say, you know, Alex, you were here with your last film, Snowy Bing Bongs Across the North Star Combat Zone, which was also a film that I literally laughed from beginning to end nonstop. And honestly, like, we had Sunita in a film called Vegas at Lighthouse years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And she was one of the leads of Snowy Bing Bongs. Obviously, that's her dance troupe. And you're you've been working with her. You've known her a long time. And Eleanor, you've been here at Lighthouse since, I think, 2011 is what I was saying, many times with your directorial films, Possum, Everything All at Once. You produced the Babushkas of Chernobyl, and now you're back with co-directing your first feature, which premiered at Sundance, which is just an amazing trajectory for us to be a part of. So thank you for being back here with us again. So to kick off the questions for Save Yourselves in the discussion, maybe you could just kind of get us started in telling us a little bit about the film, and then I have one quick question I want to follow up after you just introduce the audience to kind of the basic premise of the film.
Do you want to explain?
Sure, yeah. So the movie is about a couple, Jack and Sue, who you just saw in that picture. They go upstate for a week to disconnect from the internet, and as soon as they leave Brooklyn, aliens attack, and they don't know about it because they're disconnected from the internet. Is the basic premise. What else do I need to say about that?
It's like a sci-fi comedy.
Yeah. Eventually they do find out that something's up, and they have to try and piece it all together and figure out how to survive, I guess.
Yeah, they're terrible survivalists.
Right. So my first question with regards to this is, obviously it's about a couple of New Yorkers, Brooklynites. For those who didn't know, the two of you who co-directed the film are a couple in real life. Is there any kind of drawn from real life inspiration to the portraits of Sue and Jack in the film?
Yeah, I mean, early writing process was like us working on a job together and just driving around the country and writing down funny things in our notes. And we realized we went to actually write the screenplay. All we had were these like
funny little
these like coupley moments.
Character details.
And so it was great though, because when we started like, plotting it out, we had all these specifics in there. Like there's one song about putting big soap into little soap into like a travel size soap. And it's a song that Eleanor really sang once, and I thought it was really funny. And I was like, let's just put that in the movie.
Yeah, there's a few things that still remained like over time, and various drafts of the script. The characters became like a little more them and a little less us, but there's definitely still remnants of that.
Yeah, for sure.
And so a follow-up question there, and leading into Alex, especially for you, your work with Sunita and having known her for a long time. Can you talk a little bit about casting your two leads, how you knew you had to find kind of both the right chemistry, and also, just the style of actors that you were looking for these roles? Because a lot of actors are going to bring different styles, different comedic sensibilities to a role. Can you talk a little bit about trying to figure out exactly what you both wanted for those roles?
So I met Sunita, like, I guess it was like 15 years ago now or something, at college, and been working with her for a long time. There's a whole bunch of people from the comedy scene that I love and try to work with all the time. And Sunita's definitely on the top of that list. And we started writing this with her in mind, because we thought she was so funny and she would just nail this character. And we didn't really have an idea who Jack would be for a while, because we hadn't yet seen a show that he's on called Search Party. And some friends recommended that. We watched it and we were like, oh, we found him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, as soon as we saw that, we were just like, oh, it really kind of, he checked all the boxes of everything we thought that we were looking for, which was like really good physical comedy. I mean, it's the whole film is the two of them, but they're basically in every scene, so they really have to be able to carry it. So it's kind of like great actor, great with comedy. We wanted him to be as handsome as Sunita is, and John just really kind of hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
And then we approached him, the normal way through his agent and manager, and then had a meeting with him, and then later discovered that him and Sunita were friends.
They're really good friends.
Yeah.
Sunita sent out this email for her wedding, and he was just on the email. We were like, oh, all right.
That bodes well, right?
Yeah. So they knew each other, and they were excited to be in the movie together. Yeah, we're sharing. Larry just commented, I just noticed you guys are sharing AirPods.
Yeah.
It's true. It's the only way we can do it.
Otherwise, we just keep pulling the.
Yeah. And it becomes a whole thing. And we cast them also because they both live in Brooklyn, and we really wanted to nail the Brooklyn stuff, because we see it not nailed so often. We lived in Brooklyn for 10 years before moving to Los Angeles. And so like them coming from the Brooklyn comedy scene, they have this shorthand that they can sort of make each other laugh, and they have the same sense of humor. And they also just like they're the right type of people. We don't want to fake it.
And as co-directors, can you talk a little bit about kind of some of the little things that they might have brought to the film, or things you kind of brought to the film and worked with them to kind of implement to get the reactions that you needed in those scenes? Because some of these scenes are just like fall down funny, and it's just like, you're always left wondering, like, is this improv? Is this scripted? How do you get amazing comic moments? Because comic moments are some of the hardest things to pull off in films. But like,
totally, it was sort of a balance. Like the script, it's a very heavily scripted movie in terms of it's a lot of dialogue, and it was fairly like we stuck pretty close to the script. But obviously, when you involve people like John and Sunita in your movie, you know that like what they're going to bring to the table is why you hired them. So like we did sort of just kind of like let them be a little bit loose with the script and do like some different options on different takes and stuff. There's some of our favorite lines in the movie are actually like things that John said off the cuff. There's like one moment when they like hear the voicemails, but I don't think this is too much of a spoiler, but aliens attack, whatever. They hear these voicemails, and the first time they hear like the word aliens, and John is just like, we're toast, and we didn't write that. And it's just this little moment, but we love it so much.
Although like we weren't like word perfect with them, but we had so much plot and so much that had to be in there that
Right, they had to mostly
they had to mostly stick to it.
Yeah.
And we knew when we had them signed on that, like, even though we thought the script was like was funny, we knew that once we had them signed on that it was actually going to be really, like, could be really, really funny and really special with them.
Yeah,
doing
a few
it.
things changed in the like prep process as well, like just reading through the script with them.
Yeah,
they as soon as you hear it in their voice, you're like, oh yeah, okay, wait, this could be better. Actually, the way John said that is better. You know.
And they had a lot of like great feedback early on about the relationship stuff and like what stuff felt right to them and natural, and what stuff felt to them like it didn't sound like a real relationship. So it was like really helpful to
also, like because I'm Australian, half the time some of the things I write just don't sound right coming out of an American.
They don't quite translate. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's weird, and Alex like is used to it, so he doesn't quite.
I like
it.
I wanted to keep as much in there as possible. His Australianism.
I see a comment in the chat there, and again, I don't think this is too much of a spoiler, just about the tabs. And,
yes, I saw that.
Real life.
But yeah, just like drawing from real life experiences of how people operate, especially with technology, because your film does center on how people of a certain generation are interacting with technology and what happens when that's taken away.
Joke was going to be something that, like, I was worried that no one would know what we're talking about, or
no
one would relate to it. And it's like one of the things that people talk about so much. I'm like, oh, everybody has tabs and loves their tabs.
Yes, I think I've got about 15 open right now. Yes.
Yeah, I know. Alex used to be a very anti-tabs.
You should see it now. It's just like I'm looking at my tabs right now.
We have so many different like spreadsheets and like. Yeah, exactly.
That was a true story. I had used Eleanor's computer and I had opened it and I didn't restore all tabs, so they were deleted, and it was really bad.
What I love about
the biggest
that moment,
mistake I've ever made.
Yes, absolutely. What I love about that though is it's a joke that incorporates the themes of the film too. It's about their relationship. It's about technology. It pulls everything in right from the get-go, and you guys kind of launch from that kind of sensibility. Can you talk a little bit? One of the things I really love is about your film specifically is how it maintains its comedic tone throughout the entire film. Because a lot of times in comedies, you'll have a very funny first act or first half, and then when it becomes extremely plot heavy, they kind of forget to be funny. But your film maintains that comedic tone all the way through. Can you talk a little bit about, as co-directors, working to do that, and make sure that you are still bringing the funny even as the film advanced?
It was, I think a lot of it just came from like the way that we approached the storytelling of, you know, we were always thinking, okay, these people are never going to get it. Like they're never going to figure out, now I'm doing spoilers, but a lot of things happen to them and it doesn't unfold the way like a normal movie with heroes would unfold, I guess, you know, like, and so once we kind of just like stuck to that of like, know what would actually happen in this scenario, the comedy kind of followed. I think like it wasn't too hard for that to just keep happening if you kind of stuck to the principle that
and it's really
gonna keep fucking up.
It's really funny to just watch people fail over and over again, even if it gets like, you know, really dicey. It's just still funny. But it was a balance the whole time. Like writing the script, we were like, sometimes it would feel like, okay, that even if like something were to happen in the plot that was too dark, like we would be like, okay, that's not like the right tone for this. And then working with in the scene, it was all about like working about how we shoot it to make it funny. And then in the edit, it's the same. So it's just like a process the whole time that we were pretty clued into, because we wanted it to be funny.
Yeah, we wanted to. I mean, it's like you can make things funny, but it was like also the right type of funny, and
we didn't want to lose the realness.
The reality, So like all the time when we were shooting, it was always like trying to. I mean, John and Sneak, they're both so funny, and they're both like very good at doing extremely absurd things, which, you know, like you can sort of like pepper that absurdity throughout, but you know, it's got to also like come from a really truthful place for the majority of the film. For those moments to kind of sing and not like get overly silly.
But the idea is like,
so that was thing I think we all worked on together, I guess, to try and like maintain that.
By the time you get like a certain point in the script, like a character can just like react a certain way with a look, and it's really funny. Like that's the ideal situation.
I was lucky enough to be able to actually visit your set one day when you were shooting in Brooklyn, and I kind of saw the interaction you had with your cast and crew, and it was such a relaxed, fun. Like Alex, I don't think I've ever seen a director laugh that much during a shoot. I was like, this is so relaxed and chill. It's like amazing. This film must be going so well. Can you talk a little bit?
Come back from like we'd spent 3.5 weeks upstate doing all the upstate stuff, and then that was our first, or I guess that was our second day back in Brooklyn after doing the really difficult end scene, right?
It was actually the day you were there was like we had like a lot of extras, and it was it was like one of our biggest days. Yeah. So it was actually a lot to keep track of.
It was, but it was fun also though, because like people like Joe Firestone and John Early were coming in, like
Ben Sinclair.
And it's like it had just been this tight little unit for so long, of like just us and Jonathan within the crew, and then all of a sudden there was like a bunch of other people there, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
And we just had such a nice crew. I mean, some of them were there last night actually. Like,
oh, amazing!
Yeah.
Three crew came down. With their partners,
Felicia and Chris.
Chris and Nikki.
But just in terms of being on set as co-directors, can you talk a little bit about your process of working, like how you choose who's going to speak to actors, who's going to be coordinating the camera and everything? Because sometimes it's a difficult process. Were you always on the same page as far as things?
Yeah, that's the thing is we do have pretty much the same exact taste, which is really funny. That's
the easy part.
It's like how to approach talking about how to change something is like something that we talk to each other about. We're like, because you're just trying to be you're trying to communicate constantly as efficiently as possible. Right. So like we would talk about like, okay, I think it needs to be like this. What do we do to do this? And then like one of us would go, or both of us would walk over.
For the most part, we tried to both, like especially when we were working with the actors, tried to like both always be present in those interactions, because there was a couple times where I feel like we just, out of necessity, like split up, and then we'd accidentally tell them the same thing, or
which is like so annoying for them.
So we're like, we tried to like,
or if different things, and they'd be like, like slightly different.
But yeah, for the most part, we didn't split up too much, unless there were just a couple of days that were so technically difficult that we really had to be like, okay, like just in what was happening within a frame, there were so many different elements going on.
That was really good.
Okay, you just like keep an eye on the camera work, and I'll like keep an eye on the performance, and we kind of divided and conquered. But that was really only like a couple times, and that worked well.
It was great.
Our preference is like mostly to kind of like both be involved in all things, because it helps everything be better when everyone's got their eyes on all the stuff. But
I think if you've survived the tabs closing, you can get through anything. That's what you're saying.
We prepare a lot too, like, and so just so much of everything had been hashed out in prep before we got to set. So it's not like we try not to leave too much to chance.
In terms of when the film becomes more than just a two-hander, do you want to go in that direction at all in terms of talking about, conceptually on an indie budget, conceiving the
proof stuff?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
I didn't want to go there in case you didn't want to go. So
I don't know who's on this call anyway, but if everyone's seen it, or raise your hand if you. But, I think we can.
But if you could talk about like for anybody who hasn't, maybe without a spoil, if you could do a spoiler-free version, that might be.
Well, the trailer is going to be out soon, and the aliens in the trailer, so we can talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. That's great. There we go.
The aliens in the movie are these little they're poofs.
It looks like a little footstool.
It's like you could mistake it for furniture, and then they're alive, so they do stuff.
So I guess
in terms of how we did it, is that what you?
Yeah. Like conceptually speaking, for a comedy, how do you conceive the poofs as what your aliens were going to be, and then creatively and practically speaking, how do you implement this on an indie budget?
Mm-hmm. The poofs came from, it was just really the first, it sounds stupid, but it was the first thing that came into our head, but we were trying to think of something that would be like, they could have it could have been in the cabin for a time before they realized what it was.
Yeah.
So
And we knew
kind of
that,
just-
and we knew we didn't want it to have a face,
Right.
because we thought it was silly that and any alien would have a face. We thought that was like,
yeah. So those were our two
That was our
criteria,
rule.
and I just sort of was like, I should like maybe be like a poof or something. And Alex was like,
I was like, yeah, that
"Oh,
sounds
cool,
great.
sounds
Let's
good."
do
And we
it.
were writing the script for a while,
hmm
and then I think when we got to the point of like actually sort of writing more of those scenes,
Like when we got to like
became
scale,
clear.
like
Yeah.
scale of alien,
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, like what are we talking about here?
Yeah, and I was like, what
Right.
do you mean? It's a furry footstool. And it became apparent that Alex didn't know what I was talking about at all.
Yeah, I didn't know what a
Sometimes.
poof was. And there's a scene in the movie that also is based on that conversation.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was sort of the concept, but it's also it starts with like a little kernel, and then when you think about it, it's like the word is funny, and like
Yeah,
it
and then it
rhymes
would
with
just
things, and it just kind of like expands from there.
yeah, poof on the roof. Like there's so many. It just became very funny. We just stuck to it, and it just seemed right.
Right. Absolutely.
And then
And
making it.
the making was really fun. We worked with a creature designer who has like a really amazing knowledge of creature movies and
Mm-hmm.
horror movies and so on, and he has this amazing studio in LA here, so we did a poof lab with him, working on not just what it would look like, but mostly like how it would move.
Yeah,
because we knew we wanted it to be practical.
We were very sort of particular about exactly how it looked, but Calder figured out like the inside. We wanted it to be practical because we wanted to make this comedy and not have a CG alien interacting with them. We wanted it to be like a real thing. So that was funnier and like more like on the level of the movie. And then so Calder created all these like different internal mechanisms for the poof. So like it could shoot this way, or it could fly this way, or it would like come at you like this. And Eleanor actually ended up like sewing together the first like 5 poofs.
Yeah.
Like, out of a feather boa.
But so we did most of it practically, and then we also had a really great VFX supervisor, Jeff Desson, who's a director that we convinced to do this with us.
So is Calder.
Yeah, right. Calder's the director too. But so he, once we had everything sort of in the camera, he just like subtly manipulated.
Yeah,
things to
he made
just
it
give
move a little bit
more alive, which was really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that part of the process was just so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like, just actually tangibly. We spent all our weekends while we're upstate, like in between shoot days, just working on poofs.
Yeah, like how's it gonna move?
Yeah,
how's it gonna move in this
staying
scene?
in the cabin.
Yeah.
And so we would just like walk around and like block out scenes and then like figure out the gags.
Like
and,
just video each other
video
each other on our phones, like acting out scenes and like doing like potential camera moves.
Just to figure out the camera moves and stuff.
High recommend to living in the set.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we just have a couple more minutes before we have to wrap up.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the film was acquired by Bleecker Street?
Yeah.
Yes.
Congratulations, out of Sundance. Can you talk a little bit about the release, when people can see it, when it's going to be in theaters, and anything else they need to know? You said the trailer's dropping soon.
Yeah, I think the trailer is
couple
coming
weeks.
out in maybe next week. At
2 weeks?
in the beginning of July.
Yeah.
And then
Was that a
The
tab?
movie.
what's that?
Was that open in a tab?
Yeah, we were just looking at the calendar.
Yeah.
The movie date is like a little bit TBD. It'll either be end of July, early August. But it's soon, yeah, and theaters nationwide. So it should be in a city near you.
And
very soon.
it'll come out so if movie theaters open and they do it safely, we'll be playing there. And then the plan is to go theaters, and then it'll be on VOD later.
3 months.
Okay.
Later, yeah, maybe October.
Like 3 months later. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question.
Yep, there we go. All right. We have one last question, and it was, how did you get Keshet International involved with the project? They're an Israeli company, so
Yeah, they're so cool.
Our-
They're very good friends now.
just explain who they are very quickly, and then yeah, that'd be great.
So they're like a big Israeli television company that has started this independent film wing a couple years ago.
They had their first movie was The Sound of Silence, which played at Sundance 2 years ago.
Peter Sarsgaard.
And then yeah, this was their second indie that they made.
And it's Mandy and Adi who run the program, and we met them.
We met them through our manager.
Our manager introduced. Yeah, she used to be our agent, and then she became a manager. So now she's our manager.
They were just like such, and you know, continue to be such wonderful partners. Like really, really helped us make the movie that we wanted to make, and very supportive at every turn. We had like a really rare experience all around where everybody we worked with was wonderful, and we pitched the movie for like a year, and there was always something about you know, whether a company wanted to change the script a little bit to make it a little more genre or a little less genre or whatever, just whatever fit their brand, change the casting, stuff like that. And we sort of realized that we were pretty stubborn, and so it was nice that we met Mandy and Adi, because they didn't want to make big changes in like per their own company. They just thought we should do it. They just liked how it was. So we were incredibly fortunate, because that is rare, and the whole process working with them was really good.
Amazing.
It was great. Yeah.
That's great. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, but you both are obviously longtime alumni of the festival and are welcome back anytime. We can't wait to see you on LBI. We're so sorry we all couldn't be down there this year.
I know.
It's just, you know, what can we do? But is there anything else?
Skipper Dipper.
Yeah, please let us know on the Skipper Dipper. That's right. Get your free cone, everybody. If you're on LBI at Skipper Dipper, let us know when the film will be coming in theaters and VOD.
Yes.
We will promote that. We will champion it. Alex, Eleanor, thank you so much for joining us again. Save Yourselves will be in theaters late July, early August. Everybody out there, please go see it. Support independent films. Alex, Eleanor, thank you again so much. See you soon.
Thanks, Eric.